Hey guys, one of the things that has come up on the forums for one or two times is to request some information about how HootSuite works and whether or not it's beneficial for you. HootSuite, in the context of our digital marketing consulting group, what that really does is it provides you with social proofing. And for those of you not familiar, what that really means is what you're doing is you're posting information relative to the services you provide and that are of interest to your niche. And you're doing that on a regular to semi-frequent basis. The point of doing that is you keep yourself by the posts that you're posting in front of your connection pool in LinkedIn in particular, but it could also be Twitter, it could also be Facebook, and what that does is that keeps you relevant and top of mind for your network. And whenever something comes up where your services might be of use because they are top of mind, you're constantly in their kind of their view when they're looking at these different social media platforms, then you come to mind when they need a service that they need to potentially pay for. That's social proofing. Basically, it increases your visibility. It also increases your legitimacy because you're constantly talking about things that are relevant to your clients. Not to say you're illegitimate in any way, but at least legitimate in the sense that you are constantly pushing information that's relevant and that gives you a level of credibility that you know what you're talking about within their niche. So how does it work? So if you can see on my screen, I've got a couple tabs up and I want to talk about a couple things. So if you go to Hootsuite, and how this works is Hootsuite has a number of different features, but one of the features that it has, which is particularly pertinent, is it allows you to schedule and automatically post information from an RSS feed, which is a internet news feed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in real quick to Hootsuite, and I've only got the one reader running, but it's enough to show you exactly how it works and what's going on with it. Oh, sorry, wrong password. Let me try that again. Sorry about that. That's better. So when you're in Hootsuite, you can create dashboards and they show you different streams. And there's a lot of different things in here that provide you metrics and good information about where you're trending, where your business is visible, all that kind of stuff. But what we're talking about specifically here is their scheduled poster. So if you log into Hootsuite and create an account, now that account is free. Up to the first two feeds that you want to create. When you want to do much bigger stuff, then you get into the paid accounts. But it's not a trial period. It's free for a small amount of stuff to do. So if you look over here on the left-hand side, you see the settings area. You'll see RSS Atom, where you can read RSS feeds. And you can see I have one here. My niche is cybersecurity companies. I've created an RSS feed for cybersecurity trends in 2017. And the way you would create a feed, very simply, is you would click on the plus sign. You'd put in the feed URL, which is an RSS feed that you would need to create, or if you already have one, you would post it there. Click the social network that you would configure in your admin settings in Hootsuite. I have one for Twitter, I have one for Facebook, I have one for LinkedIn. And then what you do is you set the frequency for it. So it'll go through and it'll scan through that RSS read feed. And every time it sees a new post, and it asks you how many times a day do I want to check. So the default is 24 hours, but it can be as frequently as every hour, multiple hours. Pick the frequency that works best for you. You don't want to be too spammy about it, so you probably want to stick to something like the 2 to 4 hour range at most. If you do every hour, you run the risk of getting spamming and you're annoying the people who are seeing your information show up on their feeds. You want to be top of mind, but you don't want to be obnoxious about it. And then it also shows you, it gives you an option for how many posts, if it scans through your reader and it sees 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 new articles, how many should it post at any one time? And you can schedule here, well, post only one at a time every 2 hours, or two at a time every 2 hours, whatever frequency makes sense. And then a link to the information plus a little intro bit, like something like, this might be interesting to you. And that's it. And then you save it. Now, when you save this feed, what it'll do is periodically at the frequency you set, it'll scan through and it'll go through and figure out what are the new feeds that are showing up on that RSS read feed, what are the new articles, how often should I post them, and if there's more than one, how many should I post at any one group. Now, if you don't know what an RSS feed or how to create one, that's no problem. Go over to news.google.com, uh, click on the, make sure you're logged into Google because you want to personalize it. Personalize your news feed. You can select from topics or create one of your own. So for example, let's say I wanted to create a feed for new dentistry techniques. I can use that as the feed, save it, and then if you look, it'll update the news sections, and you'll have, here's my one for cybersecurity trends, but now I have a new one for solar. There's one for solar panels I was playing with earlier. Now here's one for new dentistry techniques. It shows you all the news listings in Google that are relative to new dentistry techniques. If I click on that header, it brings me up a full list. These are the list of articles it would potentially post. Now, when we're talking about RSS feeds, if you scroll to the bottom there, you'll see a link for RSS feeds. You just right click, copy that link, go back to HootSuite. I'm going to create a new feed. I'm going to put in the feed URL I just created for new dentistry techniques. Say I wanted to post it to Twitter, check every 6 hours and post 2 articles at a time. And then something maybe to intro it, something like, hey dentists, this is for you. Oops, there we go. And then it'll include a link to the article when it posts it. So what it's going to do is it'll check this feed every 6 hours, and it'll post whatever it finds into my Twitter feed, and do it every 2 hours, and do two new articles at a time if it finds more than one. Include some text from the article, and then I have a little lead in to kind of say, hey, who is this targeted for? And then I save the feed. And it's there. Now, like I said, this is for the free account. You can only create 2. If you get into the paid accounts, you can create a lot more. So what does it do? If I look at the first feed, which is I did it for cybersecurity trends in 2017, and I did it for my LinkedIn account. If I go back to my LinkedIn account, you'll notice here at the kind of the home dashboard, views for your posts. If I click on that, that shows me the list of the posts it's creating. And you can see here that every roughly several hours, depending on how often new articles show up, it's automatically posting these into my feed. So everyone who's in my LinkedIn network sees this information, sees that I'm posting information relative to their niche. It keeps me in front of them. It also kind of gives me a sense of, gives them a sense of confidence that I know what I'm talking about, or that I'm presenting information that's relative to their niche. So that when we get on the phone, or I contact them later, or I upsell them at some later point, they have at least some level of confidence that I'm familiar with their niche, that I kind of know what I'm talking about, and that they can feel confident that doing business with me is something that I'm not some guy off the street who doesn't know anything about anything. So that's it. Just a quick intro to HootSuite. Like I said, HootSuite's got a lot of other functions and feeds, like you can create these dashboards that's looking at your social trending information and whatnot. We might save that for a later video if folks are interested. But as far as social proofing and posting information to your various social feeds to kind of keep you in front of your network, and also give them a sense that that you know what you're talking about relative to your niche, it's a handy tool, and it's definitely worth checking out. So this is Gabe Hernandez, and have a great day.